Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Again, and we're talking about the next couple weeks and tropical activity, snow, frost, rain, rain in areas we don't want rain. So again, a lot of things to talk about. Fall did officially arrive here on Saturday at 9:54 at night. Not looking this pretty yet here in eastern Pennsylvania. We're starting to see some yellowing of the trees, but this will certainly be a very quick transition here in the next 2-3 weeks as we start to see the fall color across the northern tier of the country. Looking at the 2-week outlook here, top is this week and the bottom's next week. Pretty much similar patterns. Northern half of the country is the cold spots. These are high temperatures versus average on top. So really cold weather, 15, 20 degrees below average up here in the plains. Unfortunately, a conveyor belt of rain. And again, this 1-2 inches in North Carolina, we definitely don't want to see that. Unfortunately, looks like we're going to get it this week. Next week, again, same general trend of colder northern half. South, southeast obviously remains hot, and Virginia looks to be real hot. Amazing how this, you can see the cold front's obviously stuck right here through the Ohio Valley, and hot to the south, the cooler to the north. This conveyor belt of moisture going through the Corn Belt and the southwest. Again, could be some flooding out here in Arizona with this kind of thunderstorm activity. But during harvest season here, we don't want to see this much rain. Again, we did warn about this, that it was going to be a wet fall, and unfortunately it looks like that's a wet fall for the farmers out there trying to get the crop out of the ground. Looking at the national trends here since the start of meteorological fall, which was 1 September, again, we had that warmer trend at the beginning of the month, and then we had a cold snap around the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Then we had the Hurricane Florence scenario where we had a tropical conveyor belt of moisture and heat. And then this past weekend, we've started a transition pattern here, no doubt. Weekend for the nation as a whole was the coolest in 5 years, wettest in 7 years. And now looking going forward, generally for the nation as a whole, now this is an aggregate of the entire U.S. So pretty much, again, cold north, warm south, but the national aggregate would say it's the coldest in 9 years for this week, last week of September, wettest in 30. We could certainly do without this rain. Next week, the coolest in 3 years nationally, wettest in 23. Again, could probably do out with this rain. So generally a cooling trend here as we go into that early part of October, again, mostly for the northern half of the country. Certainly the time of the year to talk about frost, and we're certainly going to have that in the upper plains, frost and freezes with the 20s, 30s, and upper 30s, getting all the way into Nebraska, northern Iowa. So again, no impact to the farmers out there, but if you have tender plants, might want to bring those in here by Saturday, and then some middle frost up here in New England as well. Obviously still pretty tropical and warm to the south with the 70s at night. Looking, there we say it, snow in September, but this is actually the first week of October, and we're seeing some heavy mountain snow for the Montanas, Wyomings, up in the northern Rockies. This is probably overdone in South Dakota model, just maybe overdoing the rain-snow transition, but certainly some snow in South Dakota, so something to worry about, again, for the farmers out there still frantically trying to get their crops out of the ground. Jumping out to the Atlantic here in the tropics, again, we picked up Leslie and Kirk over the weekend. Michael is this thing spinning off of North Carolina, and that's kind of concerning. It's not named yet, but it could become. Hurricane Center actually think it has potential to develop here. We got Leslie and Kirk. Kirk's actually going to probably be the longest lived event of all these out there, going through the Windward Leeward Islands, and we'll have to watch it as it gets into the Caribbean. So right now it just looks like a weak system, but again, the path would be slightly concerning for the Gulf of Mexico if it were to hold its intensity. It's going to certainly have some shear issues as it moves along. In the near term, this weekend, midweek, here's actually the big concern is, does this become Tropical Storm Michael? Some of the models actually project it's going to become a tropical storm. And all say within about, by Wednesday, it's going to be somewhere here off the North Carolina coast. So it looks like it does one of these, and it's a near miss. Doesn't look like it'll go right inland, but any rain from this is unwelcome rain. So again, models right now showing 1-2 inches, maybe slightly higher in parts of eastern North Carolina. Again, they could certainly do without this. So it looks very impressive on satellite here this morning. So it's certainly likely to become what could become Tropical Storm Michael. Back in the early season, we actually projected that it was going to be an active hurricane season with an above normal trend of 15 named systems. We're already at 12, so we're feeling pretty good about our chances to be on the high end of most of the forecast out there this spring. A lot of folks in August downgraded their season to below normal because the season was so quiet in August. And then obviously now here in September, we've had so many storms, we're actually going to probably tie a record, if not break a record, in terms of named systems. I think 8 is the record. 8 named systems in a month is the record, and we're quickly approaching that. So it's no doubt it's going to end up being an above average season here. Just as a summary here of the hurricane season so far as of today is we've had 12 named storms. That's much above average for this point in the season. Normally we'd only have about 8. 12 is what you'd expect. 11 and a half or so is what you'd expect in an entire season, which runs through end of November. So we have 2 months and a week left of the hurricane season, so we may even get well above 15 named storms at this stage. 5 hurricanes, that's above average. Normal to this date is about 4. We've had 1 major hurricane, and unfortunately it had to make landfall, Florence. The ACE is what's called an accumulated cyclone energy index. It just measures the intensity and longevity of systems. So we're up at 82, average is about 73. So been a very active season, and again, we don't see why it's not going to remain that way. So we're certainly going to pick up quite a few more named storms here as we go through this season. So we don't think the hurricane season's over for the East Coast. We do actually are concerned about another landfall. Hopefully not a major landfall. So with that, folks, have a great week. We'll be back here this time next week.